You like to say, Kirk, that one play never beats you, and I don't think it does. But I thought we played real well defensively and gave up one play. I thought we played well on our special teams and gave up one big play. But there was a lot of other things that cost us a win. We had an extra point block, that can't happen. We missed a field goal, a chip shot field goal, that can't happen. You lose by 1 point. When you lose a close ball game, every mistake that you make gets magnified, and then you start to make sure, well, is that the reason you lost or didn't get a win? I did think we ran the ball north and south. Kevin Miller ran hard. Went north and south, had 100 and some yards. Had a big one, had a couple big runs, but had the one on the first score where it was a short yardage, and they packed the box, and he slid off the back edge and came out the back end and finished it from about 40 some yards out. So that was a big play. But all game he ran hard. He went north and south, come out the other end. The things that you look for to to give yourselves a chance to win. I guess if you were going to say the perfect week for a bye week is, in my opinion, I guess would be halfway through the season. You play half of them, and then you get a chance to refresh, recharge your batteries, whatever, and then play the other half, and then that's when it happened, right after 5 games. Now, it wasn't a lot of fun with 2 weeks from your last game when it's a loss, and that's the last thing that you're on the board for. So we tried to fix some things, gave them some time off, tried to, like I said, refresh, recharge, and then now we got a lot of work to do, get ready for Tiffin. We think Tiffin's is, one of the top teams in the league right now. I mean, they've lost 2 games, and I would think, by whatever, comparing stuff and stats and all that, they'll probably be the favorite their last 5 ball games with who they have left on the schedule and where they're playing them and those type of things. So we know we got our hands full. They do a great job. Gary's done I think a fabulous job with that program from where they were to where they are now. They've got a quarterback that's as good as anybody in the league. The receiving core, the skill set that they have has put pressure on everybody. They're 2 weeks ago they beat the number 4 team in the country, by 2 scores. So we know that's a really good football team we're going to line up against. I think the biggest thing in playing somebody, like a dual threat quarterback is your ability to limit big plays. You can't give him chunks. He's going to break tackles. You see it. He's phenomenal at breaking tackles. You really have to concentrate and focus and make sure that you wrap up and get him to the ground, because he's a highlight film right now with breaking tackles. And then you have to keep the ball in front of you. If he's going to throw it, you know that there's going to be some people get open. You know there's going to be some people get some throws. You can't let them get the 60, 80 yard touchdowns, and all of a sudden, boom, that just demoralizes you. I think that college football has gone to the quote spread offenses, and people are making defenses play horizontally. They're playing sideline to sideline now, and they're stretching it out. And they're trying to get people the ball in space, and that's what's created this this new trend where you're seeing scores rise and rise each year. And Tiffin does it as good as anybody in our league as far as being able to stretch you and still run the football. They get you out there and put the 4 wide outs, but they'll bring in 2 backs at times plus the quarterback. I mean, there's 3 guys that are a threat to run the football on just about any time that they they snap it. Defensively, they're going to be a pressure football team. When you play that offense so that you're playing against it all spring and all fall camp, you're going to see a lot of space. So you've got to go get defensive players that can that can move, are athletic, and can play in space, and they have. I mean, their secondary is very veteran. Just about all their starters from a year ago returned. So we're going to see the same guys that we saw a year ago, up at our place, and we think that they will pressure. That's been kind of their mode of operation. I think they run real well. I think they tackle in space. Right now they're right there in the middle of the pack. In defense. I think execution on offense. I think we have to maximize our points. I think defensively, being able to get off the field on 3rd down, and limit their possessions, and then also to try to play well in the red zone and not give up the big chunk plays.